Okay, Dr. Robert Brodie, let's start with an introduction. Give me a brief background.
What's good, bro? How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Dr. Robert Brodie. I'm a clinical psychologist. Went to undergrad at UC Irvine. Did my graduate program at UC Santa Barbara, and so I specialize in clinical psychology. One of my specialty areas early on was African American mental health, and now I've moved on to still working with African Americans, but I specialize in forensic psychology. So I'm
Okay. My man, my man. Okay, well, cool. So the first question that I wanted to ask is, what is the leading cause of difficulty in Black relationships?
And of course, when we talk about the leading cause, you're talking about communication, all right, or the lack thereof communication. And I mean, that's been explored thoroughly. And I mean, everybody talks about that, but we're going to get a little bit deeper today. And what we're going to talk about is, well, we'll talk about trauma. And what I mean trauma, I mean bringing in some of the unresolved issues from your past, whether it be past relationships, past experiences, but bringing unresolved things into your current relationship. So anything that you are not aware of, bringing that into the current situation.
Okay, now you say anything that you're not aware of, bring it in. Sometimes don't people know that they've got? I mean, I've heard people acknowledge that they've got a past, some stuff in their past, but they still won't deal with it.
I mean,
So,
people talk about constantly, we hear this term baggage, and people will talk about, oh, I bring baggage, or she brings baggage, he brings baggage. And I mean, I guess we can label it. Some of that stuff is considered when we talk about baggage, but we're going a little deeper today, and we're talking about things that you may not necessarily know that are impacting you, that you bring into your relationship. And so these could be things in either from childhood, or past relationships, or any kind of experience that you've had in the past that you're bringing in, that it's not readily hitting you in the face. And so you don't know that this is something that's impacting you. I guess it still falls under that category we were talking about before, but it's some things that just aren't in the forefront of your mind all the time.
okay, give me some examples of trauma from your childhood. That
I
kind of.
mean, and so kind of getting back to that original thing, when we talk about communication skills, so where do we learn those things? We learn communication skills from our early interactions with the first people we communicate with. That could be our parents. So there's people who have that unresolved, let's say, trauma from the younger ages, and that trauma could be in the form of how you communicate with others. And so your ability to express yourself, either it wasn't a safe place for you to express yourself, or how the people how around you expressed themselves to you and didn't allow you to then express yourself, or how you learned your style of communication, whether it be we talk about our feelings or we don't talk about our feelings, or whether we yell, we shut down, we shut those around us down. So all of those things are how these are things that we learned when we were younger that we're now bringing into our current situation.
And that's powerful because yeah, you're right, we don't really think about those things. And when we think about that word trauma, we're typically only relating it to someone got beaten, someone, something horrible. But you're right, the poor communication skills, that's traumatic.
It
For
is. And trauma, I mean, trauma is a broad-based term. And trauma is basically, when we talk about that, it's one's emotional response to an event. And that can be, and it's how we perceive that event or how that event impacted us. So, typically when you think of trauma, you might think of something like a death, or something very significant like a accident or something like that was a traumatic experience. And yes, that is the clinical definition of trauma. But when we're also talking about an emotional response to a situation, trauma can be something, how you interacted with your past relationship, how you interacted with your past, with your parents when you were younger. Trauma can be things as someone who cheated in a relationship, violence in the relationship, abuse in a relationship. And these can be things that happened in your past relationships or past interactions with people that you are now bringing forward. And these are unresolved issues that you're bringing forward that are now impacting you and your situation that you got going on right now. And so that's our definition of trauma that we're talking about right now.
So now let me ask the big question, the big elephant in the room. what's going on that people have all this trauma, don't want to resolve it? What's up?
Well, like I said, some of it you're not even aware of. And when we talk about trauma, our response to trauma, we aren't even always consciously aware to it. It could be it could be how somebody interacts with us. Somebody, we may be more of a quiet, demure type person, and we're interacting with somebody who's a little bit more boisterous. And when that loud, booming voice may be something that triggers this individual, and the other person is like, I wasn't yelling, I wasn't arguing, that's just how I talk. But it could be something that's impacting the other person. So that's, you may be getting triggered from something in your past boyfriend or a past relationship that you had, a past parent, and that's how they spoke to you, and that's now triggered you to now impacting you in this relationship that you can't even hear anymore what your partner's talking about. So again, you're not even aware of these things all the time. And that's where, one of the things that we hope to do with this that you're doing right here is bring some of that to the forefront so we can start, one, talking about it, and then teaching people how to get some help for that.
That's right. That's right. And get help. By get help, you mean therapy.
Now that's the word we don't talk about. I mean, we starting to hear about it a little bit more. I mean, it's starting to get a little bit more comfortable. We're starting to hear it in movies and things like that. But the reality is we're still not talking about it. And why is it that we're not talking about it, particularly in the African-American community? Because there's that stigma around it. Okay. The way we were raised is we keep personal business in the house. You keep in-house business in-house. You keep your personal business quiet. Like I recall these, even me growing up, one of the things that I was always taught, when you step out the house, nobody needs to be able to tell what's going on with you. You put on this front for the world and you go out there and you face the world. And so whatever's going on with you, you got this image that you're going to present and you're going to be ready for the day. And yes, that's protective and we needed that to a certain extent. But then also we need to find an area that's comfortable where we can be a little bit vulnerable and talk about some of those things that have gone on. But we still have that stigma against therapy. And some of that is, like I said, because of that, we don't talk about things. And then some of that is because we are uncomfortable talking about what's going on with us, with others, with other people, and with others. And when I say others, we want to talk to somebody that looks like us. So
that's right. That's right. Yeah, no, and that's big, because I think, frat brother, that even if people are open to therapy, they're afraid. The biggest thing that they're probably afraid of is, how will this person look at me?
Exactly. I mean, you always, the biggest thing that we look at when we talk about positive therapeutic interaction is, can you establish that rapport or comfort in that initial session? 70% of the people who start therapy don't come back after the first session. And why is that? Is because that counselor or clinician did something to damage that relationship. And it's also unknowingly they did something to damage that relationship. Or it may just be that they didn't establish a safe place and make the person feel comfortable. And so one of the things that we, or the person as the individual client, is looking for when they come into a therapeutic interaction is this a safe place where I can talk about me? One, is it safe for me to talk about it? And two, when I do talk about it, are you going to understand what I mean and not judge me? And we find a lot of that comfort in somebody that looks like us. Now, again, that's not a hard and fast rule that you only can seek therapy from someone of your same ethnic minority, but it does help for a lot of individuals, especially who are already a little showing some trepidation about going into therapy. Seeing somebody who looks like you definitely helps smooth the road a whole lot.
Yes. And that's big. And yeah, and that is one of the things that we want to do with Black Love today. We want to start talking about everything, and we want to start talking about talking. So what is therapy? Let's do that for a minute, just to give people an idea, because some people may think that, we hear the word shrink, that they're going to shrink your emotions, and we're like, no, I don't want anything shrunken. I want everything to be big. I want to put it out there. What is therapy, Frat?
Therapy is basically a style of communication, and an actual therapeutic technique is someone skilled in using a particular technique to bring about change. That's what it boils down to, using a particular technique to bring about change. And when I say bring about change, the reason that you've come to see a clinician or a therapist like me is because there's something going on that you want to impact and change, whether it be how you communicate with others, how you respond to how others communicate with you, or whatever. But I'm going to listen to that, and I'm going to employ a specific strategy to assist you. Now, there's a difference between that traditional therapy, what I say from a psychologist, social worker, marriage family therapy counselor, a psychiatrist, versus there's also people out there doing personal coaching. And I don't want to just fully knock personal coaching, but when you're going into something and you need assistance from a professional, you want to find someone who's actually trained to do therapy. There's many people out there who are calling themselves coaches, but aren't doing therapy. And yes, it's important because sometimes the issues that come up are beyond that of coaching, and you want somebody who's trained in this matter who can actually bring about change and assist you. And when you go to somebody and it doesn't work, that leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And what that's going to do is make you not want to go back again. Like, you're going to have this negative interaction with this one person, and that's just going to taint the field for everybody. And so what we want to do is get you into somebody who actually brings about therapeutic change in this individual and can help you.
That's right. That's right, man. I'm glad you said that. I spent years when I was on the lecture circuit before as a relationship coach, but I specifically kept it to social constructs and social ideas. And if it went beyond that, I would always recommend people to a therapist. But I'm glad you said that, because I've seen a lot of people who are calling themselves relationship coaches, life coaches, and they're trying to do therapy.
Exactly. And again, there's a place for everything. And like what you just described as a relationship coach, there are people that can give you general feedback on relationships and how people in general react to relationships. But what you're doing in therapy is it's an individualized approach to this person that's sitting in front of me. And I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to connect with you. And I'm going to attempt to understand what's going on with you. And then I'm going to employ a specific strategy to help bring about change and to help bring some positive change to you. And that in itself is different than coaching. And what we need is to continue this conversation like we're doing right now, is to continue to use that word therapy, to continue to use treatment. We need people to know that I've done it. You know, we need people to talk about their experiences, their positive experiences in therapy. And that's what's that going to do, is make it feel more comfortable for everybody else to try it and get out there and get some of the help that they need.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, and and I'll say it, and I'll say it here, and I'll say it there. I'll say it everywhere. I sound like Dr. Seuss, but I've been through therapy, and it helped me. It helped me to identify some things that I really didn't acknowledge before. And because I was able to acknowledge them, I was able to resolve them.
And that's exactly what it is. What you just said, it was help you to identify some things that you weren't aware of that may be impacting, whether it be impacting your relationship. And again, when I'm talking about impacting a relationship, it's not only that intimate sexual relationship. It could be how your relationship with your coworkers, your relationship with the kids, relationship with your friends, because it doesn't just stay stuck to this one area. If you having difficulties interacting, often we'll see it in a variety of different areas. You may also be having some difficulties at work, relating to the kids. So you get that help in all phases. And so I like exactly how you said that, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, one of the things that I think is big that we've dealt with tonight is that you've outlined communication. And I think that a lot of people, when they think about therapy, when they think about trauma, when they think about things that they're going through, communication is probably way down on the list. But it's interesting, because when I ask you what the biggest difficulty is, communication came out. Most people probably think, especially if they're college educated, that they can communicate very well. Is that true?
College education teaches you to study, it teaches you to read. I don't necessarily know that it teaches you to communicate. And many of us may think we can, but there's some people who communicate extremely well who have not been to college. There's some people who with advanced degrees, and I know this from people that I work with MDs, JDs, PhDs, who suck at communicating. So
That's
I'm
right.
gonna tell you, that's one thing that is not taught in school. This is more of an interaction with people. Some people have it, and some people need it to be cultivated and nurtured, and that can be assisted through either coming to see a professional, a therapist, or you may have a strong foundation of friends who will help that along. But that's not something that I don't remember a class in college where we specifically talked about communication strategies and helping you talk to the others. There are some out there, but I don't think everybody took them, bro.
Well, I don't know because I was in the College of Communications and Professional Studies to get my journalism degree, and we didn't talk about communications, not like interpersonal communications. I mean, it may have come up in a class or two, but there was no class interpersonal communication. I missed
Exactly. And it's that interpersonal that we're talking about, that one-on-one dynamic, because that's what's the most important, that one-on-one dynamic, and bringing it back to the issue of relationships. That's what that's what we got to focus on, is that one-on-one where the doors are closed, nobody else is around, and it's just you and your partner. How are y'all communicating with each other?
that.
And are you letting whatever else happened in the day come in and impact that? We need to strengthen that one-on-one, because the stronger you can get to that one-on-one, and that's through communication, that's how you strengthen that relationship bond. And once you and this one-on-one are strong, y'all can take on anything out there.
That's right. Well, that's why I think this is going to be so powerful, because when you start talking to people and talking to them about relationships, just the ideas are so strange, just so bizarre. They really have nothing to do with what makes a relationship good, what makes a relationship strong or sustainable. The ideas are just, I mean, and I don't want to, pick on women, but some of the things that they talk about, like, there's this whole thing now, which is really scary, where women are saying that in order for them to be feminine, that a man has to show that he's a provider. Well, that's scary. Like, you should just be feminine because you're a woman. And, a man shouldn't have to do anything. It should just be. But if there were proper communication between the sexes, the genders, we wouldn't have those kind of issues popping up. And
And
it's
you touched on two different things, and one of them we're gonna save for later.
okay.
And that whole issue of the provider and things like that. But
Yeah.
the second part that you said is our take home right there. If there's proper communication between the man and the woman, and we're not going to lay it on just one side. We're not going to say, oh, it's just because the woman did this, or that the man can't communicate. We're not going to lay blame on one side, because again, it's a tag team here. It takes both of them to be able to
Yes.
communicate. So again, I'm gonna call out the brothers on this one. I'm gonna call out the sisters on this one. That's between us both. If we're gonna have this dynamic here, we both got to work on a way to communicate with each other. And you can't look at it, well, it's your job to do this, or you weren't communicating. Well, we need to find a way to communicate with each other. All right.
My brother. Yes, yes, absolutely. So listen, man, I wanted this to be short and sweet. I think this was, man, you packed a lot in here. And so I definitely want to, part two, and, talk about so, some things that really can actually help people kind of move the ball down the field as far as relating to each other. I actually want to do like mini seminars, 2 or 3 people, where we actually talk about issues that are plaguing our relationships today. And I'm glad you said, not just the sisters, because brothers aren't out here just getting everything right either. So
Exactly. All right,
yeah,
we all, I believe as a man, we also need to pull our own card and step up to the plate and recognize that we need some help too. This is not a situation where we're just going to look at the woman, and because that's part of the problem, is that often brothers look at her like, you need to do this, you need to fix this. I'm good. Well, neither one of us is good. If we're not communicating, it's something about that mutual dynamic. It's something about what we both bring to the table that's causing this friction here.
yes.
Take it back to, what was it, Bad Boys, when Martin said, "Me and this man, we not communicating right now. So whatever it is, we not vibing right now. We need to fix that vibe." And brother, I hope that you have me back, because I enjoyed this. So.
Yeah. So this is going to be really, really powerful. So I appreciate you. The last thing I want you to do for me, brother, is just to tell me what Black love means to you.
Black love in its best and purest form to me is perfection. And when I say perfection, I don't mean that everything about it has to be perfect, that you're doing everything perfectly. I just mean that there is nothing in the world greater than a black man and a black woman together and the energy that they can produce. When they on the same page, the energy that a black man and a black woman can produce, it's unstoppable. Whether it be career wise, whether it be producing children, whether it be just life in general, traveling, there is nothing more perfect than seeing a black man and a black woman together.
All right. Well, thank you, Frat. I appreciate you.
All right, brother.
All right. Take care.
Thanks for having me. All right.
6. All righty.